Hi, I'm Anushree Krishnamurthy. Welcome to the fifth episode of the Science Jam, which also happens to be the first session in this season covering neuroscience. Today, we have someone whose passion for neuroscience surpasses all boundaries. Somebody who lives and breathes neuroscience with a zeal that is rare and inspiring. Someone who believes in spreading his love for neuroscience far and wide. I'd like to welcome a good friend, an amazing colleague, and above all, a passionate neuroscience researcher to be, Ankush Chakrabarti. Ankush did his bachelor's in psychology from Calcutta University and a postgraduate diploma in cognitive science at Punjab University. He is interested in understanding the underlying mechanisms of stress and depression to develop novel therapeutics to treat such neuropsychiatric diseases better. So he's also passionate about neuroscience outreach and mental health awareness that he acts on through organizations such as Project Encephalon and our site. Welcome, Ankush. Great to meet you today.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction, and I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. So let's start off with asking you about when and how did you get interested in studying depression and stress related disorders, because I think that is your core area of research.
Right. So I have been, very curious about learning about the brain since like I was in 11th grade or sometime around that. I used to wonder about perception, how, everything that we see, ever, or feel is something that happens through the brain. And without the brain, nothing, the universe as we perceive it would not exist. Right. And I was very interested in learning about that. And then I got interested in learning about how different kinds of drugs might change your perceptions. Some drugs might be hallucinogens, and they might show you different things that aren't there. And I was very interested in that, in psychedelics and other drugs that change perception in some way. Then I came across this thing called the TMS, which is transcranial magnetic stimulation. It's a device. It looks like an 8, and what it does is it produces magnetic pulses, and with that it kind of affects the electrical signals that flow through your brain, and by that it can change the mechanisms of how your brain works. And that also was very interesting to me, and I really love these two topics separately. But at one point I realized that both psychedelics and TMS are used to treat depression. And so after that, I participated in this competition of presenting ideas of different, you could present anything based on neuroscience. And so Anushree, I and two others formed up a team, and we presented on how we could tackle treatment-resistant depression. So treatment-resistant depression is basically patients who try antidepressant treatments but fail to recover from depression after that, right? So so in such cases you use TMS, you use psychedelics. Some of them work better than these antidepressants. So that's how it started, and then from then on onwards I have been interested in doing research in stress and depression. Another thing that kind of helped me choose these paths was this one quote by Partha Mitra from CHSL. He had said this. So he, when asked about why he chose his research topic, he said that he chose this because this would be a problem that he probably wouldn't be able to solve throughout his life, but then he could add in sufficient amount of information to help people out. So it's kind of similar for me too. I want to do something so that so many patients of depression might feel better. And yeah, I guess that's about it.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So you've taken up something that is currently perceived as unsolvable, and I mean, your contribution, I'm sure, is going to be immense in the field. So apart from core academia, you have also involved yourself in a lot of co-curricular activities like science outreach and also other things. So how do you think these activities have helped you as a researcher, or they have helped you to think better as a researcher?
Right. So what I kind of feel is communicating science is one of the core parts of science. I mean, if you can teach someone the minute concept that you are studying. For example, I used to volunteer at an organization called CRY, where I used to teach little underprivileged children about science, right? And we don't have neuroscience in school in India, but then I used to teach them what I do. They used to ask me what I do, so I used to tell them, okay, so this is what I do, this is the kind of research that I do. And once they understood what it was, they were very interested in learning more about it or asking questions about it. And that's what research is, right? Asking questions. So the more people ask questions, the more chances we have of having better questions and better answers to those questions. So that is how it helps me from one direction. The other is it helps me formulate what exactly I want to think better, as in break the different variables down and then build them up from basics so that I understand the thing that I'm asking, right? So yeah,
That's really true. I mean, you get a lot of perspective from teaching kids. I mean, the way they think is a lot different from the way we think after a certain age. So that innocence as well helps a lot in getting new ideas. That's really nice.
As you mentioned right now, all these different initiatives that you've been a part of, and all these different projects that you decided to contribute to, they have honed you into a better researcher. They have helped you build a more holistic approach towards viewing your topic from different angles, from different perspectives. So coming back to the main the main collaborator for this issue, for this season, Project Encephalon. You are a huge part of Project Encephalon, the most valued one, I would say, one of the most valued ones. And you've been so active. So my question to you would be, how do you think being a part of the Project Encephalon has helped you further your goals of outreach and awareness about depression?
well, firstly, yeah. So firstly, it has helped me a lot in networking, in reaching out to different researchers and like-minded people, and like you mentioned, bringing in different perspectives, right? So within the team itself, there are 60 people in the team, and 60 people have 60 different perspectives on the same problem. And then after that, when you host some event, it brings in even more perspectives, and the more perspectives that you get, the more information you can get on a specific topic, and that's one way it helps immensely. The other one would be just because you are a part of the team, you sometimes have these obligations of attending all the events, right? So that another way kind of allows you to, you probably wouldn't have exposed yourself to a specific topic that's not your niche field, but just because you are a part of the team, you do that. And once you do that, it somehow brings in those perspectives into your research too.
So Yes, Project Encephalon, it has helped you in networking, and I'm sure that you must have had a chance to talk to so many experts in the field itself. Uh, well, coming back to the topic of depression and spreading awareness about depression. Now, since 2020, we have been in the midst of a pandemic, which has inevitably seen a huge rise in the cause of depression all over the world. Mental health has taken a huge hit, and it's safe to assume that depression and mental health disorders are now a pandemic of their own. So, as a young researcher in the field who is so keen about, giving it a different perspective, trying to make it more interdisciplinary, what would you like to say to our readers about this silent pandemic? Mental health issues that have been on such a huge rise for the past 1.5 years now.
Well, honestly, it has been tough on almost everyone living on the planet. And for some people, it has been personal losses. So for some people, it has been losses related to their careers and a lot more. So it really added up a lot of stressors, and I can't really say that it's gone till now. So I think what has helped me, I can't really say what would help everyone, but what has helped me is being forgiving to myself, because firstly, it's not really something that I had something to do with. I couldn't really do anything because of the pandemic. That wasn't really my fault. Sometimes it happens. I mean, I did this to myself too. I was really sad about not getting to go anywhere, not getting to go to labs, work, missing opportunities, all of that. And I was really, feeling down because of it. But I realized that it's not on me. So just forgiving yourself might help you get through things, and it's okay if you don't if you can't put in that much effort into every day. You can take more rest if you're feeling down, get back up, start working again. Another problem I faced because of the pandemic was you all the time you sit in the house and you don't get to go out a lot and all of that. And what it did was I was in front of the laptop screen almost all the time that I have my eyes open, and that kind of created, had me burnt out, and I still kept working and got sick. And so another thing would be give yourself some rest. You don't have to work all the time. In fact, if you give yourself some rest, what I realized for myself is when I gave myself some rest, I could actually finish those, more work, because I kind of saved the time that I was getting sick. So I used to work for 7 days, get sick for 3 days. Now I work for 5 days, take a break, and then again work for 5 days. So it's more efficient that way. So yeah, that's it, I guess.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, sitting in front of the screen for such a long time, and spending classes in the classroom, from attending classes from your home in front of a laptop, has been a huge shift for everyone. And it's not just about class, or it's not just about your work, but it's also about this huge change of lifestyle from a physical lifestyle to a digital lifestyle. And the whole, we've had to entertain ourselves off screens. So this different wave of not being able to be with the world, yet trying to be with the world, the FOMO of sorts. So it has created a different wave of I wouldn't say sadness, but the feeling of being alone. So the way there are different types of depression, there are different kinds of depression. Do you think this could be categorized as a different something?
Well, there is a lot of social isolation because of this, and there have been studies showing how physical touch, physical presence might offset stress a bit. But then on the other end, looking at screens for a longer time actually increases the stress that you're taking. That's one point. But then I also want to highlight another point, which, we only talk kind of ill of the pandemic, but then it also had a silver lining, which is it allowed, people to network out of their the boundaries that they normally have. So just like you mentioned, I might have networked with different researchers and all. It probably wouldn't have been possible without the pandemic, very honestly speaking, because just because everything was online, I could attend different conferences, and I could do that just sitting in my bedroom, and that helped me reach out to different people. And as people aren't giving their energy in going out, talking to people in person, and as you mentioned, everything shifted online. So that, I think, has put in some good things in place, in attending conferences from different places, getting to know people from different places, getting different perspectives. All of that has been helpful in some way also. Plus, it saves a lot of time. Like, you can just meet with people from 5 to 6 on exact those time points. And earlier, it used to be 1 hour of commute. Then you used to reach the lab or the meeting place, and then you had the meeting for some time, and then again 1 hour of commute. That kind of made the system more efficient.
That's really true. I agree. Plus, I think the best gift that the pandemic has given us is the fact that both of the organizations we're talking about, Project Encephalon and the Science Paradox, were born during the pandemic. And if not for that, I don't think we would be having this Science Jam at this moment. So that's the best thing that could have possibly happened to us. And I guess to our readers and our audiences as well.